Yo, people, lateness is greatness. Welcome back into the building. You know what time it is. It's time for the All You Can Eat Chelsea show, Euro edition. And I'm wearing one of my classic tops. And Miz is wearing his Chelsea top as well. And Younes has come green.
I'm just blue.
You're just wearing an Italian top, perhaps.
An Italian top without the badge or the sponsor or the number or whatever. Just, yeah.
When blue is the color, you're basically colorblind. I can't see anything else now. You know, I just see blue.
This is like John Cena. You just can't see anything now.
It's like the Erling Haaland pictures. I just see blue sea and blue skies and like a fishing boat,
blue
which apparently
tints on his
Roman's
clothing. It's all blue.
Big up to the chat. I hope you guys are happy and ready and just, I don't know. You know, it's the Euros, so I don't know how you are. Maybe you're missing Chelsea. Maybe you're enjoying the break. Maybe you're enjoying the hot weather. Maybe you're not because you're sweating and, you know what I mean, you're hyperventilating and your hay fever. I don't know, bro. It could go either way for you guys in the chat. So let me know how you are. Miz, bro, how are you? How are you feeling? How you doing?
Yeah, good, man. It's a good change, the Euros. You know, you like to have obviously Chelsea games on and whatnot, but you know, we needed a bit of a break after that long season as well. And look, I haven't been getting to watch too many matches. Germany match was the first proper full one. Oh, the England one, obviously, I watched as well.
I was about to
say. Against Croatia. And yeah, no, it's a good change. I like it, man. I'm looking forward to how this tournament pans out to be. Dark horse Turkey, by the way. What happened to our dark horse?
Lloyd's TSB is the only dark horse I know.
I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
Oh, did you call it? You called them dark horses?
I called them dark horses as well. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have. So
I don't know if I said it publicly. So now if I did it, I'm gonna definitely backtrack from that.
I had no involvement in that whatsoever.
I'm pretty sure we can find some sort of video out there in Younes' channel. Bigging up Turkey.
They're going to advance search you now on Twitter.
I done it more than once, bruv. I done it on my predictions video. I done it on here. I went around and I was like, Turkey, watch Turkey. And they're going to do this. And yeah, as Adlib just said, cold Turkey. I mean, yeah, basically they've just done nothing, man. They done nothing. I didn't expect that. They just completely failed.
Wow,
they failed the mission. Let's keep it a buck. Do you know what I mean? They failed the mission.
Mission impossible. Mission done.
Listen, the mission for them was to at least get to the knockouts. If you're gonna be, you know, not cold turkey. If you're gonna be, watch out for these guys, then hey, you need to make it into the knockouts. That doesn't seem likely now. So, I don't know if they've got injuries. Sadra's saying to me that they're not playing the usual 11 that they played on the lead up to the tournament in the qualifiers. I have no idea. But hey. Not my concern.
The crazy thing was, like, they topped their group. They got ahead of the Netherlands. They beat the Netherlands. They beat France. They beat France in a friendly. I'm like, they topped their group. I saw all of this happening in such a short space of time, and I thought, yeah, they're serious. And no one's talking about them. So now I know why.
Hey, Wales, Madrid.
You know what that tells me? These qualifiers, honestly, they're Mickey Mouse stuff. No wonder I don't watch them, man. It's such a joke.
Bro. But you said it before. You don't even really like qualifiers because it's not serious. Same with England. Yeah. Qualifiers is not serious. It's when you get to the tournament that you really have to prove yourself. That's when you're under pressure. For me, the qualifiers for a big nation who's got usually an easy group, that just is a pre-season in my opinion. That's like Chelsea going on tour when they went on the Australian tour, when they went on the Dublin tour, smoking teams. So that doesn't mean just because you're smoking, Melbourne and Dublin and like Sligo Rovers and do you know what I mean? Just because you're smoking these teams doesn't mean now on the opening day in the Community Shield you're going to step to Manchester City correctly. Do you know what I mean? That's the analogy I'm going to use. That's how I see it.
By the way, big up to people from Melbourne, man. Shout out to you guys.
Oh yeah, hang on, quick one. Yeah. Who plays the Community Shield this summer?
Not Leicester versus City.
Man City, yeah. We would have been in it if we'd won the FA Cup final, but
our boys wanted Leicester won it.
We don't want to beat Pep 4 times in a row now.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
To be honest, no one cares about Community Shield. It's literally
who cares about that?
Except DT.
We're in the European Super Cup.
DT cares.
That's right, baby. That's right. Yeah, and European Super Cup is before the season starts as well, so that's fantastic. It's
August 18th in Belfast. I think I actually will I go to that? I don't know. We'll see.
You got to go, Matisse. You got to go, bro. You got to, bro. If I'm having a stream, which I probably will, I'm gonna call you live. You better be on. You better have that video on, bro.
Maybe, potentially. People in the chat are saying Hakimi's almost done. There's rumors circulating that, you know, Alonso is going to be used in the swap, and I'm kind of excited. Like, obviously, I love Alonso, but you know, I'm ready for him to go now. You know, I'm kind of.
He's a European champion, bro. Come on.
Of course. But the squad must be refined, replenished, and rejuvenated. The 3 R's, I like to call it. But before we get into all of that, because I've spoken about Hakimi more times than really I've spoken to my mother in the last month. It's becoming quite concerning. I want to talk about the DM search, because the DM search now is definitely heating up, because the Euros is exposing some people and it is definitely lifting up some people. Obviously, one of our own, Jorginho, dropping masterclasses like there's no tomorrow, having good performances for Italy. Both of their performances, 3-0 wins against Turkey and Switzerland, dominant displays. So Jorginho doing what Jorginho does. I don't need to tell you by now, Chelsea fans in the chat, respect the Regista. Yeah. All right. Just respect it.
Can I say something? Because you said something which I wanted to tweet out. Actually, I will tweet this out. And I think it should be resonated across the whole Chelsea fan base. You said not that long ago that if you are looking to replace Jorginho, that man better have what Jorginho's got. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't be coming here if you can't do what Jorginho does. I don't care if you can do whatever the stuff that he can't do, but you better know exactly what he's doing right now. You better be able to do that. And I think a lot of more people are coming around to this, Matisse. Like, they are starting to see the value of it.
It's crazy that it's taken this long. Do you know what I mean? It's taken 2 European Cup wins at Chelsea. And then now, you know, he's already been balling for Italy. They're on an unbeaten run for a reason. That midfield is fantastic that they have those options. Maybe whether it be Locatelli, you know, Barella, you know, Verratti when he comes in, Jorginho. So it's honestly the options that they have is, you know, beautiful. But, you know, people that wanted to pretend like Jorginho had no strengths and he didn't bring anything to the team, he was a complete liability, and like as if he was, I mean, it's just simply not true. It's simply a lie. You know, it's a flat out lie. So, I mean, to not take in, you know, the strengths that he brings to the team. And then, like I said, with a new player coming in, they need to be able to do what he does. They need to be able to do it, because if they can't, we're going to miss what he does, especially in a team that builds from the back and plays on possession. And then your team is not really going to improve as significantly as you hope with this massive 80, 90 million injection of cash that you're trying to put in this position. I was speaking to Liam Tooney yesterday about this on the DM situation. He personally doesn't even believe that he's going, you know, that we're going to splash on the DM position, because we're interested in Haaland, which everyone can see. We're interested and seems to be close with Hakimi. 60 million euros potentially on that deal. Haaland is going to cost over 100 million. Don't be surprised, basically, what he said is if Chelsea don't splash on a DM with Kova, Jorginho, you know, you've got Kante, 3 players that are going to be here next season. You've got Gilmour, whose future that needs to be decided. Conor Gallagher's just had from what the Chelsea, you know, hierarchy take it as a good loan at West Brom. So if Chelsea do get a DM or centre midfielder, just don't be surprised if they just spend a normal 30 million on this player.
Yeah.
And that leaves us, gentlemen, let's commence our targets. Well, not even our targets, but just the people in the title, inspired by Miz himself. Miz, what do you make of these 2 ballers, Phillips and Locatelli? Because Locatelli's could be a striker option from what I saw yesterday. and
the boy can finish.
Phillips was playing next to good boy Declan. Do you know what I mean? So what do you make of it all?
Bro, look, I haven't been able to watch Italy so far. I did catch Locatelli's goal though yesterday. I was watching a little bit right at the end. I did catch his goals. I didn't get to watch Italy's first game, but I want to start off with Calvin Phillips, right? I said this name in your channel here, Matisse, maybe, I don't know, a couple of months ago. You know, we were talking about DMs and I threw the name Calvin Phillips. I'm not one bit surprised the way he played for England. You know, so many people after that match were saying, when I was tweeting and praising Calvin Phillips, they're like, oh, here we go, reactionary, 1 game. I don't know about you guys. It's enough for me to just watch Chelsea games, like with family and everything and whatnot. Like I've only got time to watch Chelsea game, but the odd moments that I do get to watch another club, I honestly watch Leeds. And you guys know, every time I hear like sort of, slander towards Bielsa, I jump in and I go, do you watch them? Do you actually watch Leeds and how absolutely amazing they are with the budget that they have and the kind of madness that they're doing? It's illegal. They should not be able to do that with the players that they have. If you look at a man from man, they should not be able to match up against some of these Premier League teams, but they do that. Calvin Phillips is a big part of that, man. Seriously. And so many people are saying, oh, but that England performance, that looked like a box-to-box player. Yeah, he can definitely do that. There's no doubt that he can play that. But for Leeds, he generally sits very deep. You guys will remember the very first game last season against Liverpool, how they exposed Liverpool, their back line and how they're pressing up and you can find, space at the back. It was literally Phillips pinging in balls from, deep diagonally to Jack Harrison and Bamford and so on and so forth. It was Phillips's ball that split open our defense with Zuma absolutely left in no man's land. And then Mendy gets into a bit of a bad position with Bamford. So Phillips, he's a fantastic player. He's literally, I don't know if you guys watched this, Younes, I'm not sure, you might have watched this, the documentary in Amazon for Leeds. They had, the first season, Matisse, right, where they just missed out to Frank Lampard's derby, how they got out, they were devastated, right? They were so devastated, and they were fearing that they were going to lose Calvin Phillips and Bielsa. And somehow the owner managed to keep Bielsa. And Bielsa's first thing he said, and they were showing this documentary, right? Obviously, it's in Argentinian, and they were showing the subtitles. He said, I don't care who you lose, but make sure you keep Calvin Phillips for me. You're keeping Calvin Phillips. That's the one player that I need, and then we'll try and build a team around him. And they ended up tying him down on a very, very lucrative deal with Leeds at that time. And then surely enough, the following season, they ended up getting the promotion. So, my man, honestly, our fan base are so head over heels over Declan Rice. And I get it. And I don't want to slander this particular player because he's a very good player. But there are other options around which are probably just as good or maybe even better for half the price or maybe even a fourth of a price. Calvin Phillips is one of those players where, my days, if he comes into Chelsea, and I know we're not rumored, this is just fans just building it up, but if we're rumored with this player, Calvin Phillips, Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic, that midfield is. And Calvin Phillips is a bit of both. He can dribble like Kovacic. He's got the passing range like Jorginho, and he's got the engine of Kante. Like, I've seen this player, man. He's that good. Locatelli, so far I've seen the goals. He looks the bits as well. Many of the fans that actually follow Serie A, they really like him, but there's not much I can add because I don't watch it. I'll leave it for you to discuss that.
There's so much to unpack with this. I mean, Younes, first of all, what did you make of his performance? Because he was playing box to box. However, for Leeds, he does play holding midfield. Do you know what I mean? They do put him there and put Dallas just ahead or whoever they want to put ahead of him. But obviously, with a Leeds team, everybody's doing their shift, whether it's going forward or going backwards. There's no carriers in that team. No one being carried. It's a very high energized system. And the one thing I've said about Phillips, which I have liked, is his passing. I mean, literally against us, he set up the Bamford goal at Stamford Bridge. It was I'm not going to forget the pass because I keep bringing it up. The left foot pass that split open Zuma and allow Bamford to go on through on goal. And I think he played a similar pass maybe in the return game or in another game, high profile game.
I think so. Yeah, return game, but it didn't end up being a goal.
Didn't pan out. Yeah. So I mean, Younes, what have you made of Phillips?
That England game specifically, he was unbelievable. Him and Tyrone Mings for me were the two standout players in that game, and the two players that no one really expected to be the standout players. Everyone was looking at everyone else, and Those were the two that Southgate went ahead with in terms of the starting lineup, and everyone had a question mark. But those were the two that, for me, played the best for England that day. For England, he played a little bit more as an 8, as a box-to-box, and Declan Rice was the one that was sitting a little bit more. For Leeds, we know he sits more, and he's an in-and-out defensive midfielder. And I think he has loads of characteristics that suits Chelsea a lot. As you said, he moves quick, he passes the ball quick, he's a workhorse, he doesn't stop running, and those are things that Thomas Tuchel would just absolutely love, hands down. Which is, again, part of the reason why I think many like Declan Rice. Maybe not in terms of moving the ball as quick. I think there's a doubt in terms of Declan Rice and whether he can distribute, quickly and consistently. I think many don't have doubts in terms of his physicality and how much he can, bolster your midfield if you're having to defend, which is the one thing that personally I have as a question mark, you could say, on Calvin Phillips, just because of Leeds. I would say I wouldn't mainly pinpoint this on him, but we know that Leeds, in the way that they play, at the back, they can be quite suspect at times. And leave themselves exposed. And I don't want to pin that just on Calvin Phillips. I think the back line can succumb sometimes, isn't as good as it should be, but they protect themselves by the way that they move the ball and the way that they attack and the way that they press and they try to defend from the front. And that's kind of what helps them. How well can Calvin Phillips, and that's the thing though, with the way that Leeds play, it's hard to judge just how good a Calvin Phillips or whoever, a Dallas or whoever is in that Leeds midfield can actually defend, because I feel like their backline does let them down sometimes. So with him in that Chelsea team, and you look at the players that we have, Jorginho, Kovacic, Kante, I feel like a Calvin Phillips, for example, alongside a Jorginho, might actually work quite well. Fast, moving the ball quickly, loads of pace, and I think it could blend quite well. Kovacic, similar, because Kovacic is quite direct. With Kante, Kante this is the thing. Calvin Phillips would have to be the sitter, not Kante. And as well as we know that Kante is just an absolute machine, and it's Kante. It is what it is. It's Kante. But I feel like what Chelsea need is someone that we know we have an assurance in terms of bolstering that midfield and defending well and being a block, when we have to defend. Can Calvin Phillips do that? If he can, then absolutely, I think he's probably the perfect man to bring to Chelsea because he does everything else right. And I have no doubts about that. I want to know how well he can. And again, Miz will probably know better than me, because you said that you've actually paid more attention to Leeds and the way that Calvin Phillips plays. I want, and I haven't, to be honest, I want to know if he is solid defensively.
I think as well, just to add, the Leeds team at the start of the season, they were very robust with their just general play, and in general they were all over the place. They were very. They reminded me of Blackpool when Ian Holloway managed them, and they were just free for all. Going forward, brilliant on the eye, but they were leaving themselves exposed to the back. It was like kick and rush football. But as the season went on, Leeds did tighten up and find a lot more balance. And
I was just going to say,
I'm sure, this is what probably Miss was about to say. They did tighten up. And I think that's all systematic for me, because I don't think individuals, defenders can defend. That's why they're in the Premier League for a team. It's all about the system, and I think Bielsa, he just needed to find that right balance. And once he found it and gave them certain maybe details and instructions, then Lord and behold, they start keeping clean sheets. They kept a clean sheet against us in the return game. Do you know what I mean? 0-0 at Ellen Road. I think also, which is interesting as well. In terms of Declan Rice, because this is where it all kind of stems from. I think the fascination, or maybe the obsession with him, with this fan base, which I have already said I said it on my private, because I really couldn't be asked. Because again, the obsession, couldn't really be asked with the comments on my main. But the over, the way that people are overdoing his stature, and then the way that people are diminishing, the way that people are overdoing it and then underdoing it in terms of just downright disrespecting probably one of the best DMs in the Prem, has created this toxic environment and divide in the fan base before Declan Rice has even got here. And I'm willing to put my money on it. If Declan Rice signs for this club, you are going to see the most toxic Twitter atmosphere you've ever seen for Chelsea, ever. Because Lord and behold, a lot of people that want Declan Rice have probably disrespected or disregarded Jorginho in the past. A Jorginho that is now starting for one of the tournament favourites in the European Championship. A Jorginho that started and did an amazing Champions League campaign. And a Jorginho that's now, being consistently here for 3 different managers. Same thing I would say with Mason Mount being here for 2 different managers. Jorginho's been here for 3 different managers and managed to hold his own and find a way to ease his way into the squad, being given vice captaincy. And, I've had people come on here, like I said, Pat Neville and Gab Marcotti, who's tried to put some respect on his brother's name, and even still I'll get comments of disrespect for Jorginho because people still don't, to this day, understand what he does. And on the continental, in other leagues, in Spain, in Italy, Jorginho would be widely respected. He would. He just simply would. But in England, just the way that football is thought about and the way that we speak about football, he's not as appreciated because he doesn't have that athleticism maybe to go in and get mud on his socks and do recovery tackles. But if you create a system, the system that we're talking about with Leeds as well, where they found balance, if you create a system that's correct, he can flourish and he can do amazing things. So I think because of the amount of disrespect that Jorginho has copped, it's once again, it's kiddish and it's childish, but it's just, again, same with Mason Mount as it was previously before people couldn't even really deny that he was a top player anymore. Same thing's happening with Declan Rice. I don't think actually the fan base really has a disdain for Declan Rice. They just don't like the fact that Jorginho is the one that cops so much disrespect from people that mainly seem to rate Declan Rice. And Declan Rice is not the be-all and end-all. Like you said, Miz, and I've agreed with you really on this point, there's other DMs. There are other players out there. Declan Rice is not the be-all and end-all of Chelsea Football Club.
And Matisse, I want to put this out there, and it might sound controversial, but the truth is the truth, right? As much as I love Frank Lampard, player, 100%, we all do. But I must say, he's played a role to tarnish that vision of or that image of Jorginho, the way he was playing with the lone DM and the attacking eights. It was never, and I remember, Matisse, I would sometimes even argue with you in the DMs, in group chats. That's why I got out of group chats, because it was just getting toxic, the whole thing. And we would sit down and argue the fact that I would say at that time that we don't need Jorginho because he doesn't fit exactly what Frank Lampard was trying to do, where he needed a physical, a particular beast that could go side to side and cover once the attacking aids bomb up. You literally need a machine in the middle that can go side to side. And Jorginho is not that kind of a player. And when he was playing that and having Mount on one side and whoever else on the other side, and when they would rush up, it would literally leave him exposed. And especially with our defensive know-how wasn't the greatest under Frank Lampard, because we're playing the 4. It would literally sometimes leave the 2 CBs and Jorginho as the deepest person. The fullbacks bombing up, the midfielders are bombing up, and in the counters, you're going to get hurt. You're 100% going to get hurt. And I think this has put an image on Jorginho, like as if he's not even a footballer. There was talks about him always getting bodied and this and that. And I'm so glad that now that Thomas Tuchel has come in, and the very first person he relies on is reinstalling, Jorginho in the middle part, because he wants to play possession-based football. He wants to have, he's assessed the team. He saw that 3 at the back is what we need to ensure the flaws of other players are covered. So, as you said, Matisse, Jorginho is not a bad player. Play him in the right style and he can win you a Champions League. It's as simple as that.
I want to say, in regards to Jorginho, I feel like there is, disrespect or, a significant amount of dislike, which I feel is just needless. Because let's have it right, Jorginho under Lampard, it just wasn't being used, let alone correctly. It wasn't being used. Full stop. Simple as that. And I feel like, as you said, Miz, that tarnishes it. But when Thomas Tuchel's coming, we got to judge players on how they play under Thomas Tuchel, because he's our current manager. Yeah, you look at the way that he's played. Manager as well. Exactly. When you look at the way that Jorginho's played under Thomas Tuchel, how many bad games has he actually had? I can remember maybe about 3. There was one at the beginning.
Probably 2, West Brom.
I'd say West Brom, maybe West Brom,
and Arsenal.
West Brom, Arsenal, and Leicester. Those are the three. Like West Brom at the start, and again, I mean, you saw what like Thiago Silva made a blunder at the start, but look what.
To be honest, I think
the
Leicester one's harsh. To be honest, because everyone was quite poor. I think the Arsenal one was where I was really pissed off. But yeah,
exactly. Yeah. The Arsenal one with the whole mistake and the goal and whatnot, understandable. And Leicester where everyone just failed. But apart from that, how consistent has he been when he's had Kovacic next to him or Kante next to him? Or
amazing.
In order to build the play from the back and be able to distribute and move the ball fast, at a speed where it's difficult for the opponents to reach, and how many chances we create from that. Jorginho has been pivotal for that. And I just feel like many people don't just not see it; they choose to not see it.
They choose not to see it, and they also prey on his downfall, because as soon as he then makes a mistake, they're ready to tweet about it and speak about it. But again, if okay, so let's make two brilliant comparisons here. If Jorginho makes now his first mistake in 10 games, and he's had a clanger, but I've got Reece James here giving the ball away as well in the FA Cup final, making a clanger for the first time in 10 games. Both have been consistent. Exactly. You're not going to hear about it because it's favoritism. That's where unbalanced bias analysis comes in. It's as simple as that.
And you know what, boys? Just to interject here, I'll tell you what the issue is, boys. I'll tell you exactly what the issue is, in my opinion, is because our fan base, every time Rice has a good game, let's all sing about Rice. But
the obsession with Rice is down to, because on the football pitch, like you said, there's clearly other DMs. Rice is a great player. If you bring him in, brilliant. But he's on a long-term contract at West Ham, and they're going to ask for a lot of money. Corey in the chat here, look, you absolutely need Phillips over Rice. He's a West Ham fan. Perfect player for you. Fantastic counter press, better the passing range. Let Declan develop for
Corey, you should be thinking about Phillips, man. Come on.
So Declan Rice, right? Great player, very high ceiling, but he's going to cost an absolute truckload from West Ham, it would seem, unless Mourinho can negotiate it down, which I do believe she can negotiate it down. But West Ham are in a strong position themselves. They're in Europe. He's down to a long-term contract. Rice is not going to hand in a transfer request. And like I said, you got to negotiate that fee down, because no one and nobody on this planet should be paying 80 million for him. That's just not something you're gonna hear me budge on, especially when you've got other players around. But because he's a former Chelsea player,
Mason Mount's best friend.
Mason Mount, and just really buddied up with everyone from a Chelsea perspective in the England squad. You've got your photos, you've got all those intangibles that again make this emotional. And people can deny it if you want to, if you wish to deny that it's not just all based on analytical data, it's also emotional if you wish, but you're doing yourself a disservice because you're lying to yourself. It's very similar to when Lampard was in charge and we were starting to get to squeaky bum time in December and in January, and now we're starting to try and bring logic into the conversation about what's going on here. And again, emotional things are being brought up. And again, it's an emotional sport, but if you're going to be emotional, don't pretend like you're not emotional about it. Don't pretend like as if you don't want him, not just because of what he does on the pitch, but because he's also got these other things that I've just mentioned that you would like to see. You would rather see Declan Rice win a trophy with Chelsea than a Tchouaméni or a Locatelli, because they're not Chelsea, born and bred or whatever you want to call it. So don't pretend like as if these things don't exist, because they do. It's just icing on the cake. It's not the sole reason. He's a very good player, but it is part of the reason. It's icing on the cake. It's definitely something that gets dragged into it. Because when I see when I used to see the lists, it was understands the club, understands the fiber of the. Do you know what I mean? These things will get involved. The fiber of the club. It's part of it. It's part of it.
Understands the fiber.
And like honestly, I said, if he comes in, I think it's going to be a great signing, to be honest. I really do. But we cannot pretend like as if him not coming here means disaster, because there's other players out there. There is. And when you've got a manager of this level as well, not getting one player, if this was Lampard, maybe it's catastrophic if he doesn't get Declan Rice, because he's not a top manager. But if Tuchel doesn't get him, you think he can't get someone else who's young, got potential, and make them into a world beater as well? I've got more than enough confidence that he can do that. Of course he can. So it's not the same situation.
This is the thing with Declan Rice as well. I feel like if he has like a great game, for example, football fans are fickle. You'll get everyone that praises him already saying, "Oh, this is why, this is it," and you'll get the people that don't necessarily like Declan Rice just going silent. But the moment he drops one clanger, right, has a bad game, you start getting everyone that doesn't really want Declan Rice going, you see, I've told you so. This is why he's not good enough. This is why he shouldn't be at Chelsea. And then you get, everyone going, oh no, but he's as he's proper Chelsea or whatever. Like, he gets the fibre of the club and all that. You just get this is what builds a divide. It's like both sides are waiting for their point of view to take the initiative, to rise to the occasion. If Declan Rice has a bad game, boom, one extreme takes the hand. If he has a good game, boom, the other extreme takes the hand. And it's just a constant battle of fighting. There's no rationality. Players are allowed to have bad games. Players do have good games. That doesn't necessarily mean you should define the ability of a player based on that one game. Do you know what I mean? Like, they are going to have good performances. Sometimes they'll have bad performances, but that shouldn't, either side shouldn't overwrite what that player can do as a whole. And I feel like it's crazy. This is how toxic it is. But look, here's the thing. Like the Euros, for example, we'll see what Declan Rice does. Yeah. And like right now, with England beating Croatia, we'll probably go and beat Scotland. Yeah, I don't know, might get a result against Czech Republic. Who knows? We'll get into the knockout stages. People like Declan Rice and all that, everyone will probably be singing their praises. If we get knocked out and we have one bad game in the last 16 or a quarterfinal and he drops a bad performance, everyone's going to start getting on his case because that's just how it is now. Football fans are fickle. And that's why I personally don't take any of it personally.
Yeah, I try not to get involved because I think Tuchel's bigger than everybody here. Simple as that. It's like Pep, do you know what it is? Yeah, it's like Pep or Klopp at this point. It's like arguing who Chelsea are tracking under Pep and Klopp. As long as they're clearly got quality and they're clearly got high potential, which I think Declan Rice does. Locatelli for the Serie A fans. I know Gab's definitely been singing his praises. Tchouaméni, Julian Laurent has been singing his praises. Fabregas has been singing his praises.
Bro, as long as you're not talking about him, man. A lot of people.
As long as you're not watching him. For me right now, as long as you're not looking at Drinkwaters, Adama Traore's, because I'm not going to lie to you, that's the one person who's linked to. I was like, absolutely not. Players like that who are like clear squad fillers and don't have really the potential for me to be at a top club, then I'm not going to be complaining, because what people are forgetting is Thomas Tuchel is bigger than all of this. And you'd think with the way this fan base, whatever side you're on, you've been proven wrong, me included. Whether you didn't want Chilwell or you were saying Midson Mount, you've been proved wrong. Whether you didn't rate Rudiger and you didn't rate Jorginho, you've been proved wrong. You've been proved wrong. Someone has fucked up. Someone's fumbled the bag here somewhere. There's nobody out there who's sitting pretty right now. You've all got scars. You've all got scars. Do you know what I mean? You're all got scars on you right now. So to then with this confidence to go again with the animosity, it's just incredible. It's like man, them don't care about being caught in 4K. Like, you've got Tuchel in charge. Best believe anybody that comes in that he signs off on, I'm believing them. I'm believing that he can fix them up. Do you know what I mean? And it all really does come down to price. And again, you have to trust in Marina. This is what she does. Do you know what I mean? That should not be your sole reason for not wanting a player. I mean, yes, of course, if he was to sign for 80 million, I'd be like, what the hell's going on here? But I don't believe that will ever happen because I trust in Marina to do her job. That's what she does. She's a top negotiator. So he's not going to come in for that money. It's just not going to happen.
The thing is, again, when I want to make that point, when it comes to like football fans and opinions and all of that, I think it's social media as a whole is what's fueled it, because everyone now has a platform to voice an opinion, whether it's ludicrous, whether some people find it's crazy, whether many people agree. But I feel like the fundamentals hasn't changed. We've always been fans, people that voice an opinion even before social media. People go to pubs, for example, and conversations will be all about football. There'll be a little table of 8 to 10 people or 5 to 10 people, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that player, bloody top player, isn't he? And then the other person on the table, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's just voicing opinion, but it's on such a minuscule scale. Now everyone's on Twitter, everyone's on YouTube, and everyone is just able to just put their opinion in, and it's like a pub chat but inflated by 10,000. You know what I mean? So it just gives you a general understanding of the entire fan base, at least online. And it is what it is. You'll never get everyone to agree. You'll just never get everyone to agree. So that's why my honest end to the story is let Tuchel do what he wants.
Yeah, facts.
Simple.
Facts.
Let Tuchel do what he wants, get him what he wants, and let Chelsea do their thing, and we will win because Thomas Tuchel knows what he's doing. Simple.
Yeah, I just think, you know, it's going to be very interesting to see if, first of all, if we bring someone in, because, you know, if I'm going from what Liam said yesterday, it's not guaranteed that they bring in someone, and I think Hakimi's clearly close now. Haaland is definitely A1 target, clearly priority. As I was saying to people wanted to try and, you know, say that potentially DMs were up there with a striker in terms of priority. Not even close, people. Not even close. I think maybe the hierarchy...
Because we create the chances, don't we? We create chances.
I think the hierarchy probably rate our midfield higher than our own fan base. Do you know what I mean?
The only thing was, it was the injury factor that created a bit of a worried situation at the end of the season that, when Cover gets injured, then it's really up to Jorginho and Kante to take, you know, to ride the, you know, ship. But maybe next season with Thomas Tuchel, hopefully, whether what happens with Billy, we'll see. But maybe Billy gets an opportunity. Maybe he starts getting a few more game times and he starts getting that experience and starts developing in the sense that if there is an injury, we can rely on someone like Billy. And as a matter of fact, we did rely on Billy right at the end of the season where he played against, I think, Brighton. He played against, was it Arsenal? I can't remember. He played a few games right at the end of the season. Yeah. So as you both boys have said, that trust Thomas Tuchel. You know, right now the caliber of linked players that we're having are bang on.
Bang on.
Yeah. We knew there was some issues on the right side. As great as Reece James and Azpilicueta have been, they've done a job. But you know, you can get so much more impetus from that right side, especially when you play that, you know, the wing backs play. And someone like Hakimi would just absolutely take us to the different level from that right side of things. Haaland, once again, and big statement. We won goals. He's the big man out there, and he's going to eat things up. So, I mean, I can't complain. The caliber of links that we're having is phenomenal. So, you know, Liam Toomey, as you said, Matisse on your channel, is probably right that it may not be as priority as we thought it might have been. You know, look, if there is some limited funds left, and you know, I mean that by, you know, it's never limited. Chelsea have always got a lot of funds. I read an article a few days ago that Roman Abramovich apparently has cleaned up during this pandemic. He's actually made a lot of money during this pandemic. So, you know, he's ready to invest and back Thomas Tuchel. So, and that's what I was saying. You know, if Declan Rice, for the kind of money that he is, you know, getting touted for from West Ham, there are other options like Tchouaméni, you know, now this whole brother Locatelli coming out, Calvin Phillips. So, you know, we should be thinking smartly and just allow Thomas Tuchel to do his thing, because right now it's gone perfect.
We've come far. Sorry, we've come far, haven't we? Do you remember when we were linked with Ashley Barnes and Andy Carroll?
This is why I can't argue between hot prospects like this, because, like, again, I've said quite consistently, I don't have a DM target because there's options. It's really up to what Tuchel wants. Do you know what I mean? It's really up to what Tuchel wants, what the club think they can afford. Because it's not like striker where I think there's clear definition of world-class strikers that are there, and then everybody else is just like not anywhere near on their level. But DM, there's options. There's options. Do you know what I mean? It's really not. It's not a big panic for me, and I still have it as a priority. I would like Billy to go out on loan. If I was choosing, I'd like Gallagher probably to get another loan as well, and I'd like us to really fill that position, because, like you said, when we get an injury and we're in so many competitions next season, I don't want one injury to jeopardize us in that position or weaken us. But not worried at all. I think there's a lot of players on the market. I'm really happy for them to go with whoever they wish. As long as I don't see Bakayoko and Drinkwater back in the squad, it'll be all good.
By the way, there are fans for Bakayoko, Matisse. I'm still like, I can't believe it. Like, wow, there are fans for him, Younes. Honestly,
I don't get it. I'm again, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Fair play. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Kingsley said there was a reason Pep wanted Jorginho. Do not forget, if Jorginho went to Man City, like it would have been a madness. Do you know what I mean? It would have been a madness. Rather get Tamagotchi over all of them cheap too. Oh God!
By the way, did you guys see what Cesc had to say about this? But I didn't know much about this player. Only recently I started doing a bit more research. I think Matisse was talking about the whole Tamagotchi thing quite a while back, because it was getting touted around across all rival fans. but Cesc Fabregas has high praise for this player. And if we believe Cesc was one of the best in terms of the midfield quality that we've had, he's pretty much said this particular player can play anywhere in midfield. It's not a small thing that he's won the French Young Player of the season. Yeah. Like that's not a stupid
very talented
award.
league. It's where people get their players from a lot. Leicester love to go over there and grab up a few talents. They just got Soumare, they got Kante, Mahrez from there. So French league is often a very good distributor of talent. I mean, look at the French national team, for God's sake. Players that can't even get in that team probably start for a lot of big nations. Do you know what I mean? So it's incredible the talent they've got over there. And if Fabregas is singing your praises, then hey.
If Tchouameni's getting praise from Fabregas like that, and he's won Young Player of the Year, I know some people have compared Bakayoko to Tchouameni because they both come from Monaco and they're both midfielders. And I'm like, but Bakayoko never won Young Player of the Year, so it's all good. Don't worry.
Not everyone's going to turn out to be a Bakayoko. Do you know what I mean? Not everything
exactly. Everyone's got PTSD of Bakayoko.
Hazard has come from that league, and Ndombele is turning out to be a very good player at Spurs. Do you know what I mean? So not everyone's going to be like that. So
I would personally, obviously, I haven't watched loads of Tchouameni. I've said that so many times on this channel. I know there's some big flag flyers of Tchouameni in the fan base, and it sounds like he's a really good player.
His distribution is amazing.
Is it? Yeah. I mean, again,
like crossfield, two cool style balls.
Love that. People that can distribute in a possession-based team, bring it on. Now, like I said, I want to stick with this formation, and with Hakimi potentially coming in now, I think we will. So I think the emphasis for someone who naturally sits on their own is a little bit less than it was if it was in a 4-3-3. And I think obviously people are still mindful of the fact that I still want a natural sitter because, if we was to ever, hopefully not, but get rid of the manager or change formation again, where's the sitter in this team? But, Basuma at Brighton plays in a 2, another good player. Rice plays in a 2 of Souček. I know Souček bombs forward like Phillips did, but he still plays in a 2. Matic played in a 2 when Kante bombed forward. It's not the same playing in a 2 as it is playing in a 3. It's just not. I think Tchouameni plays in a 2. I'm not sure.
I think so, yeah.
I think he is. I'm not sure how Locatelli plays for his club. So, a lot of players are playing in a 2. There's not really a lot of guys that I'm seeing with natural holding midfield experience under their belt to be saying that, yes, this is 100% the guy that can do both the roles. Nemanja Matic, a great holding midfielder. We never played him on his own in a lone holding midfielder role. We played him always in a 2. He was either with Fabregas or he was with Kante in both the title wins. And I would never have really wanted us to play Matic in a lone holding midfield role because I think he would have been overrun. Fabregas, towards the end of his Chelsea career, was overrun. This is what people forget. He was overrun as hell. More than Jorginho, by the way. He was overrun. But
he would not even run at times, Matisse.
Yeah, he wouldn't even run.
We just ping passes. That's it.
Yeah, he was brilliant. Obviously, we loved him for the assist. Brilliant pass master. But people forget in a 2, Fabregas was quite suspect as well at times. So indeed, he's personally not a shout for me because he's going to be mad expensive and playing out from the back as well, just under pressure. I've seen him have a couple of lapses of concentration. But this super chat says, should Chelsea get Grealish? Great stream, lads. Personally, I'll jump in with that one. I think for me, Grealish and Sancho were my 2 attacking midfielders, but that's icing on the cake. Like I said, for me, priorities would be striker, DM, and then whatever Tuchel feels is necessary, which is clearly Hakimi in terms of his Cancelo, his, when managers want that player, that just that's the guy that they want. That's their guy. Sarri was Jorginho, Lampard was, Mason Mount to a degree. That's their player. And maybe to have that tactical flexibility in game, they can have an Hakimi to change formation, etc., etc. But what do you guys make of Grealish? I personally don't think it's even going to happen anyway, but
do you want to go?
You go first, Younes.
Personally, I heard about these sort of links, but I haven't seen anything really credible about, Chelsea might be in for Grealish. That's why I haven't entertained it. I just don't see it happening. Personally, would I take him? Absolutely. I wouldn't say no to Grealish. But as you've said, it's not priority. We've got wingers. Like, it's not a priority. That's not where we're slacking or anything like that. We've got wingers at the club. in that area where we're covered. I feel like Grealish would be definitely be a good player to have. But the priority is to get a striker. Priority is to get, personally, I think a DM. If we're getting Hakimi, which looks like it's happening, that's a great way to bolster our defense. And then if there's, spare change, we can go and get ourselves a winger. Or, someone that can have the influence as Grealish. But I think even in terms of wingers or midfield in attacking areas, where Mason Mount plays or, areas like that, I think we're covered. So, yeah, would I take him? Absolutely. Is he necessary? No, not really.
You have to make a serious sale. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the whole Grealish link came about when ex West Ham employee, I think he did a podcast sort of drop on the Byline, and he sort of said that Ziyech, apparently Chelsea's open to letting go Ziyech, and they will only do that if they can get themselves a Grealish. And that's when it all sort of came about. And obviously ex-West Ham's, he's very...
He's reliable.
He's reliable. He's very
reliable.
He's got the news from the inside. So, but this is how I see it. This is how I see it, right? As Younes said, would I like a Grealish? Hell yeah. I mean, who would not like a Grealish? But let me paint a picture, right? You get someone like Haaland coming in, and already you're going to have... So let's say you lock in Mason Mount. Mason Mount's locked in. There are still a lot of people that are actually thinking we need Grealish over Mason Mount. You at this point, you need to stop. You have to give up because
honestly,
you have to give up because Mason Mount has...
You have to give it up, people.
He's defied every sort of challenge. He has... I'll kid you not. If you bring in Grealish, I'm pretty sure he'll raise another level, and don't be surprised that if Mount starts getting more minutes than Grealish. So forget about Mount getting dropped. Mount, he shouldn't be dropped. He's phenomenal.
Shouldn't be dropped. So, he's literally playing in the Champions League winning team.
Exactly. So he stays. Thomas Tuchel really likes a player like Timo Werner, with that pace and movement and whatnot. So then you have Pulisic to be the substitute for that. So as I said, Mason Mount, Haaland and Kai Havertz. Already Ziyech and Callum Hudson-Odoi are on the brinks. They don't get minutes. So now you tell me, here's a question for the live chat, right? How are you bringing in a Grealish?
Yeah.
And where is he playing? It's
not going to happen. Honestly.
Is he going to replace Timo Werner? I don't think so, because Grealish, as great as he is, he lacks a few things that Timo doesn't have. And now you guys are going to laugh, but Grealish is going to finish. He's a finisher. But Grealish is not going to run behind the defense. He's not going to have that blistering pace that Timo is going to bring for Thomas Tuchel. So you have to understand the whole balance of the team. You can't just bring in... That's why have you guys seen yesterday? I'll bring in another topic, right? Ramos. The whole Sergio Ramos. Yeah. There's so many fans in Chelsea.
People want to play FIFA, bro. They just want to play FIFA, man. That's simple as that.
I can't believe you don't want to sign Sergio Ramos. I can't believe you don't want to do that. And I'm like, dude, why?
We don't need Sergio Ramos.
PSG bound, in my opinion.
We twisted him up in the semi-final already. Like, that's been clocked. We don't need to
do you know what it is, yeah? With people... love a sexy signing. I love Grealish, and like I said, Grealish or Sancho was my targets if you needed an attacking midfielder in this formation. Because the reason why I say Hakimi for me really almost confirms and definitely massively ups the percentages that we stick in this formation is not because Hakimi's not versatile, but because Hakimi's best position is wing back. Whether it's the left or the right, I prefer the right. His position is wing back. That's his best position. He can play on the wing, but his best position is wing back. So why would you wouldn't bring him in to play him winger over his natural position? You'd want to play him wing back. And then if you need him to play wing, you'd play him wing, but you wouldn't bring him in to actually play wing. Do you know what I mean? That you'd bring in Sancho, you'd bring in Grealish, you'd actually bring in a winger. So that's my point. Next point would be is that if we're playing this formation, and like Mrs. said, you've got Mason Mount, you've got Kai. I want to see a lot of Kai Havertz next season. That's our golden boy, if or Mason Mount, but you've got two potential golden boys in that position. But Kai Havertz, from a club perspective, is the golden boy. He's the golden child. That's what he was, bought for. So I want to see him a lot next season. Like you said, Timo Werner. If Erling Haaland comes, then you got Pulisic and you've got Hudson-Odoi, who I don't think will leave. And I've said so many times why. I just think Tuchel's invested. So even if you are to sell Ziyech, I don't think you're going to bring in, I mean, obviously, credible sources and whatnot from X, if he thinks Grealish is the replacement. I don't think there will be a replacement. I think if you get rid of Grealish, you're going to get a backup striker who's not the sexiest, but he's going to come in and do a job as a backup striker, because Giroud's probably going to go to AC Milan and Abraham's got to go. He's got to go after the season that he's had, not featuring under two.
I can't believe he hasn't found a club yet, Matisse. I
think he will. I think the only reason potentially why he hasn't got a club is just because Chelsea want to make sure they've got a striker coming in, because Giroud still wants to go to AC Milan, I think, as well. So Chelsea have to have another striker. They cannot go into a season. They could, because I guess Kai could play false nine, Werner. So you could make it work. But those three players, Haaland, Werner and Kai, are all first teamers. They're all looking to start. So you can't go into a season and say, those are my three strikers and two of them are going to be on the bench. They're going to want to play attacking midfield. You need a backup, an actual backup striker who's legitimately backup, like a backup left back for Chilwell or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So I think, they'll go and get someone like that who's, not a sexy striker, not a sexy signing, just a backup striker that probably no one's even been, linked with us in terms of, not public news, and just go down that route. I just can't see Grealish or Sancho coming in if you're signing Hakimi, because Hakimi can play out wide. You know what I mean? If you was to have a situation where loads of injuries took place, that Hakimi can play out wide as well. He can play in that position if need be. Versatile. So I just personally don't see it happening. And it's going to cost a lot, man.
The only way I see it happening, Matisse, if we let go of Ziyech and Callum. Let's say we let Callum go on a loan and we sell Ziyech. That's the only way I see either a Grealish or a sneaky behind the door stealing Sancho, because Man United stalling. They are literally stalling on
as always.
Deal. Yeah, like honestly, the player has agreed on personal terms. He's ready to go. Dortmund said, give me X amount of money. And Man United's like, well, we can't give you that. So I don't know what's going to happen there, because this is pretty much what happened last season as well. So yeah, the only way I see it is if we or loan Callum, definitely get rid of Ziyech, as much as it hurts me to say this, because I got Ziyech's, jersey. But that's the only way I see this happening.
Yeah, I don't see Callum going on loan. I really don't. No. It's just not going to happen for me. It's not going to happen. Sergio Ramos, like you said, you did bring it up. I kind of just jokingly want to even flow it through the stream there. So you guys wouldn't take him, no?
Oh man, I mean, why? What?
Yeah, why?
Again, I'm just thinking, I don't know. Ramos, Thiago Silva, Rudiger is your back three. I mean, that sounds mad.
But Reece James needs to be in that back 300, man.
I know.
It will be a criminal activity against him if he's not in the back three.
Bro. Can you imagine the shit, bro? Like, obviously, it makes no sense from a squad building perspective. Even though, if they did do it, I'm not going to complain. I should be like, all right, cool, then whatever. You guys know what you're doing, I guess. Because one thing I did speak about of Liam that we are not bringing up very often with the centre backs as to why we're linked with centre backs. This is just why we're linked. Varane, Koundé. Maybe Ramos has not been linked, but anyway, it's because they're running out of contract. Aspie is running out of contract in 2022. Now, I have no qualms and no worries that Aspie's going to re-sign. We move. Rudiger is running out of contract. Everybody knows that. Again, I'm confident that he will sign. However, it's not done. And when it's not done, there is an element of risk. Always.
I'm worried about that.
And he holds all the cards, by the way. He is at the strongest possible point he can be for negotiation. He's at the peak of his powers. He just had an incredible end to the season. Let's see how he does at the Euros with Germany now, if they go into the latter stages.
Yeah.
And, players that move for free at the end of their contracts tend to get paid a lot more. Donnarumma, as an example, etc., etc.
I'm worried that Chelsea's not going to budge. Chelsea's not going to budge for him.
Well, I think you have to see.
With Rudiger, I read yesterday that he doesn't want to talk about contract now because of the Euros.
He's
so
clever.
once the Euros finishes, we'll know. But I think once the Euros finishes, I think he'll sign.
Rudiger's not stupid, right? Because people will try and say, well, it's the fans. And obviously, listen, the fans should never have abused him the way that they did in terms of taking it to that next level of actually going into his DMs or into his comments, etc., etc. Yeah. But I think Rudiger's main reason for not signing yet would have been the fact that the club tried to sell him last summer. He won't forget that. They actually actively tried to sell him last summer under Lampard.
You saw his celebration, right, Matisse? Once the match was finished in UCL, he straight away went to I'm sure you would have seen it as well, Younes. He went straight to the camera and said, You want me to go now? Do you want me to go now? Like, his Champions League winner. He was saying that.
Yeah,
so it's hurt him. It's hurt him bad.
It's not just the club, It's not just the fans. Of course, the fans. If you were saying Rudiger's running out of contract, people would have been throwing up fiestas 6 months ago. But it's also the club that were trying to sell him. That's what people forget. It's also the club that he felt disrespected by or not valued by at that time when Lampard wasn't using him as well, and he wanted to be on the pitch. He felt undermined, disrespected a little bit. So there's a lot that goes into it. And he is well within his right to make the club not suffer, but drag it out and enjoy himself. Do you know what I mean? He's in prime position to get a big payout of it. And I think he's not even in the top 10 earners. So again, he's not, you know what I mean? He's not, he doesn't feel like he's respected. He doesn't feel like he's valued, potentially. I don't know if that's still how it is now, but I know at some point that's how he felt. Articles were dropping on his head from Chelsea journalists that are still allowed into the press rooms and stuff like that. So there's just so much going on. There's so much going on that, do you know what I mean? Roadman Rudiger, he's gonna be a bit rude with it. Rudiger's gonna get rude with it. And I think, to be honest, as someone who's had to do a complete 180 on it, because I remember on this very show when Lampard was sacked and that report dropped, I went through, and that's still up. So of course it's still up. So. And I had to take all of that back and do a complete 180 and say, yo, this guy, not even on a 180, because there was still stuff going behind the scenes. Those weren't lies. But the way that he's turned it around, I didn't think I'd still want him at the club. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think I'd still want him at the club at this point. I thought he's not going to be able to reach the level that I want in a centre-back. He can go. But he's done a madness. So he's well within his right. And another player that people don't talk about, Christensen. Also contract running out in 2022. Yeah. So that's 3 defenders in the back 3 whose contracts are running out in 2022. Add Zuma into that, who isn't in the starting 11 most times and isn't probably the least comfortable out of all the centre-backs in that position. There's no surprise as to why Chelsea have not only stocked up on young centre-backs in recent years in terms of bringing them in or developing them, but also why they're linked with Koundé, Varane, and now people are discussing Sergio Ramos, who would only really be here for a year anyway, I'd probably say, or 2. But it's the Thiago Silva effect, people. And if you was to have a back 3 of Ramos, Thiago Silva and Rudiger, it would be the fiercest defense. I mean, we've already got a fierce defense. It would be the fiercest defense in world football. It would be nuts. Set pieces as well. Ramos loves a goal. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't bring it. Because he's a legendary great defender like Thiago Silva was before we brought him in, I can't really bring myself to say I wouldn't take him. Like, if there was a way that Zuma goes and we sell him for 35, 40 million and Ramos comes in, happy days. Happy days, people. Like, I'm actually, he's one of those players that there's a line. And like, once you've crossed that threshold of greatness, I can't say no to you because you're just too good. Do you know what I mean? I can't do it.
But then what happens afterwards? Like he'd be a stopgap, wouldn't he? He'd be like one season, just like Silva. So in the space of the next year or 2, we'd be saying goodbye to Silva and Ramos. Then what have we got left? Who are we going for then? I just feel like
at that point, you hope Rudiger's contract's renewed. You hope Christensen's contract's renewed. Reece James, you got Aspie, you got Mark Gahey, who gets another loan out in the Premier League and develops as well, potentially. You've got options, and then you can also make a signing as well. You can spend the money that you're going to spend this summer on a centre back, seeing as we're linked with them. But maybe the pool is a bit better for centre backs because the pool for centre backs right now is not great. And then maybe the pool is better.
I feel like it'd be best to get straight to it and just start looking for a top centre back. If we are going to bring in a centre back, just start now and not delay any further. The other thing I have with Ramos, I understand his experience and what he's done, and he's been a top defender. Let's have it right. He's been class. But his I don't want to say mentality, his characteristic in the dressing room is what I am slightly concerned about.
What's it like?
Imbalance. He could imbalance the team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because there have been occasions in the past where he manages to get clans going. He manages to get some players on side, and boom, you end up with clashes, one group against another group, and it becomes toxic. Hence why there's been issues in the Real Madrid dressing room with previous managers and whatnot. And that's from what's the name? Sir Remy in the chat. Is that an S? I can't tell if that's an S. But anyway, that's the comment in the chat I saw it from, and I was like, you know what? That's a very good point. That's my one concern. If I knew he was like a Thiago Silva, for example, where you just know you're not getting any issues from him. He's very calm, very just, straightforward, then cool. But with Ramos, he can be a loose cannon. Bro,
in the Spanish team as well, there's always been controversy in the Spanish team. Real Madrid players, like Real Madrid and Barcelona players. The other thing that I wanted to add to what Younes just said was also, what sort of a message are we then giving to a rising superstar like Reece James? Do you know what I mean? What sort of a message are we giving to someone like Christensen, who's not that old yet? He's still, 25, 26? So he's not hitting his peak yet for centre-back position. So I think these players, they deserve to get another shot.
No, they 100% they do. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to break the harmony at the back. Look, Hakimi makes sense. Haaland makes sense. Grealish does not make sense. Do you know what I mean? And now with Ramos, it's another one of those. Had we not have Silva, I say get Ramos because we need that experience. But we've got Silva, so why get another experience? Don't forget, Aspie will still be around. Yeah, too many cooks in the and Aspie will still be around. Do you know what I mean? So you've got Silva, you've got Aspie, and then you build the youngsters in and around. And Rudiger, let's not forget, he's going to be a monster. Yeah. Even if, let's say, argument's sake, I hope we don't lose Rudiger, but let's say for argument's sake, you do lose Rudiger. Christensen, who used to be a backup, will then start thinking about a regular spot in the lineup. Zuma starts thinking about a Guéhi. We'll start pondering.
Is the one on my mind, to start phasing him in like we phase the other academy lots in. So.
I mean, personally, I don't even think we absolutely desperately need a centre-back anyway. Because not at
the moment.
I think with the defence playing this well, as long as you get everyone's contract signed up, there doesn't need to be any movement in that regard. And we've actually got young centre-backs coming through the ranks as well, and Mark Guéhi. So we don't actually need a centre-back. So it's
if only we kept Tomori, eh?
Yeah, but I wanted to explain why we were linked with them because of all these contracts expiring. Tomori's obviously confirmed gone to AC Milan, which is a shame because I would have loved to have seen him under Thomas Tuchel. It's a shame. It's a shame, but this is how it goes. Not every person at Cobham can make it. Tariq Lamptey's being linked with Tottenham. If he goes there, that's going to be a piss take as well.
Don't go, mate. Don't go. Stay where you are. Stay where you are.
But we have no control. We have no control over this. This is what happens. When these players, when we stockpile the Cobham conveyor belt, as I call it, there's too many of them. There's nothing you can do, and when they're gone, and they can go wherever they want. So we could potentially be seeing one of our own, as they say, playing in rival colours not too long away. Because Tariq Lamptey's not going to stay at Brighton forever. I think he's going to eclipse it as long as he stays away from injuries. Tomori will probably be back in England in 3, 4, 5 years at some point to prove himself in the Premier League.
Just on that, Matisse, that Tariq Lamptey, if it is true, because I saw that, he's thinking about Tottenham, that would be such a dumb move. Like, honestly.
Yeah, it would. He could do better.
Fonseca, Kane leaving. Mate, honestly, Tariq Lamptey, you should stick around in Brighton, develop your game to that next level and wait for an absolute superstar of a team to come to you. You never even know. You may even come back to us. So, we're no disrespect. Honestly, we're a much, much bigger club than Tottenham.
No, much disrespect.
Much disrespect.
So much disrespect to Tottenham.
Honestly, stay at Brighton and just wait for that big fish because you're going to ruin yourself if you go to Spurs. Before you know, everyone's forgotten about Tariq Lamptey because of Spurs. So I hope he doesn't go there.
We can only hope. I trust that he understands. He's got the minerals to make that decision and be like, nah, we don't do that. We don't do Tottenham. What else has been happening in the Euros? Just to circle back to that, because that's what the thumbnail is. I've gone with the Euros template. Just while we're in Euro season, what else has been going on? I mean, obviously Italy. As we said, unbelievable, so far in the tournament. Probably the best performing team. They look like the best team. Not maybe have the best individuals, but the best team, definitely. This super chat says it would be a great shame if Rudiger left us. 100% it would be. After any championship win, the team's players are always looking for a bigger payday. This is true to any team sport around the world. 100%. When you win the biggest trophy in the world, you have more than every right to start negotiating your pay package. So that's just how it's going to be. Wales, I mean, listen, shout out to Wales. Everybody's talking about the downfall of Turkey, but Wales still got the job done. Ampadu came on, was part of it, which was great. Gareth Bale, Daniel James, a lot of players.
Gareth Golf, mate.
Gareth Golf.
I mean,
you know what, boys?
Atrocious.
You know what, boys? I gotta be honest, but I'm pretty sure you guys would have seen Germany versus France. I watched that because I follow Germany. But I gotta say, France weren't even. They just had the second gear and just relax, just taking it easy. They're looking at Cruz and they're looking at Gundogan. They're coasting, seriously. And I tweeted after the match. I tweeted after the match that if France took this seriously, I think they would have placed the Germany.
They still really scored 2 more goals, but they were offside, isn't it? It was and it was very marginal, but it was.
I think it was tactical. I think it was all tactical.
As great as Italy is looking, and I would love to see. Obviously, I would love to see Germany go all the way.
Jorginho lift that European Championship.
Bro,
let it happen.
Italy versus France, and if Jorginho gets that opportunity to lift that trophy, fantastic.
Kante's won enough.
Yeah, true. But man, my God, it's gonna take a mammoth task to beat that French team. It will take.
But it would take an Italy. It would take an Italy, in my opinion.
Probably Italian job.
Yeah, it would be an Italian job. It would have to be. Chiellini, Bonucci, all these guys at the back. It would take that kind of performance to beat this Italy team. I'm just looking at everybody else. Like you said, Germany a little bit toothless up front. They've got some good players. Gnabry, Sané. I love Sané.
Timo Werner, playing 3 at the back, bro. I really don't understand why they're playing 3 at the back.
I don't get it either, to be honest.
It's just embarrassing because
they've got the Atlanta left wing back. Goossens. We've been linked to him a few times. He plays over there. Kimmich was on the right side of midfield.
The way Germany were
Goretzka's a great player.
They were just shifting side to side. I'm just like, Germany, what are you doing? This isn't you. They were going again. It was like watching. It was like watching Chelsea under Lampard. It was legit, just that, man. It was just sideways. Nothing through the middle. Constant cross in the box gets cleared. I'm like, Germany, and they still came close. I felt like Germany, just if they were a little braver, and a little bit more flamboyant in their approach, I think they probably would have got through, because that France defense was good, but again, it was just defending from the sides, because that's all Germany were doing. If Germany had the capacity to go down the middle, maybe they would have done something.
Do you remember 2014 Germany, the one that won the World Cup, where it was in Brazil? 4-3-3 classic lone DM. I still remember. I think it might have been Emre Can Sami Khedira. I think Sami Khedira was the DM. They had Ozil. They had Thomas Muller. It's just ballers all over. Go back to the classic 4-3-3. Have a Emre Can as a holding midfielder. Have Kimmich more, whether a right back or something, I don't know. Play Goossens as a traditional left back. Have Hummels, have Rudiger, play Gundogan, play your Toni Kroos up front, play with the, Havertz up front, maybe with Timo Werner on the side tucked in, and maybe a Serge Gnabry or Leroy Sané, or whatever. They've got the goods. I don't know why they're playing this 5 at the back, man. It's just ridiculous. They saw Chelsea, and they think, let's try and emulate this.
Bring the notes across.
It doesn't happen overnight, man. Like Thomas Tuchel's been working on that.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like when because obviously they're going to be moving managers soon. So when Flick comes in, I think you're going to see Germany probably step up a gear. They have the players, they have the talent. They're a top team. Let's not have it right, but I just think tactically they were just not there. And France, so professional, just waiting for that. The goal. I mean, Hummels, what a goal! Yeah, great finish. He should be stuck up front. That was a top class finish, top corner, and all sorts. But yeah, if as long as France remain as professional as they are, I just don't see them beating. I don't see anyone beating them. They're just too good.
Belgium for me as well. They're great. Lukaku, Hazard's obviously not the same Hazard. Their defense is nowhere near as good as it used to be. Defense is where their defense is their Achilles heel. That's where they'll drop the bag. With Vincent Kompany was their time. That was their time to get the job done for me.
That's it.
Vertonghen, Alderweireld, even Vermaelen was somewhat competent as well. But now I wouldn't give them a hope. Spain,
even England. England against the bigger boys, I think they're going to get pasted. I know they played well against Croatia, but let's be honest.
No, it's coming home. You're about.
Yeah. Croatia at times in the middle looked all right. They just don't have a striker or someone to finish things off for them.
Yeah.
Kovacic at times looked the boss in the middle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that Calvin Phillips drive through the middle and putting a beautiful late pass for Sterling,
England wouldn't have scored.
There was Harry Kane. I can't believe Southgate does not get the best out of Harry Kane. Like that's a joke. That whole
Harry
match
Kane
I didn't
trying to drop deep for England where he doesn't need to because they've got playmakers. So it's probably
no. But at the same time, like even that Croatia game, look how isolated he looked.
Yeah,
didn't even touch the ball.
Out of everyone, he was the slow one. He was far just in the distance waiting for something, and it just didn't happen. So even when I was watching, I was like, he needs to come deep. He needs to get involved because
just to get a couple
he's
touches.
Stuck up there doing nothing.
Probably didn't touch the ball for 10 minutes. Got cold feet at this point. Yeah. Spain have not got a hope or a prayer with Morata up front. Just made that very clear.
Spain
not a hope or a prayer. The downfall. I feel sorry for Jordi Alba because he's seen the downfall of Spain and Barcelona before his very eyes. It must be so depressing. He's just like he's gone from like Neymar, Suarez, Messi, David Villa, Pedro, Messi, Iniesta, Busquets, Xavi, PK in his prime, Dani Alves, Victor Valdez, and in that Spain team, David Villa, Torres, Pedro.
All that to what?
Xavi Alonso,
Morata,
Fabregas, Sergio Ramos at his peak, De Gea in his peak. Yeah, he's gone from all of that to this. Morata up front.
Bro, Adama Traore is in the Spanish team. That's just
Adama Traore is in the. Do you know what, bro? I don't even think that. I still don't even believe he's Spanish. I think his passport. I think his passport.
Is he really Spanish?
I think. You know when you go to visit a country and you just get a stamp. That's what happened. He got a stamp. He visited Spain one time, got a stamp, and now suddenly he's playing for Spain. It's like you guys did not do your checks. You didn't check. So yeah, man, this is the free fall of Barcelona and Spain for Jordi Alba. That brother just needs to just pack it up, man. He doesn't deserve to witness this. It's nuts. Someone's spamming talk about Copa America. I haven't been watching Copa America. If you think I can get through all the Euros, yeah, it's on. If you think I can get through all these Euros games and then watch Copa America as well into the night, it's not happening. It's just not possible.
Bro,
and the
Matisse
coverage apparently is garbage as well.
Yeah,
but then I won't be. I won't be streaming if you want me to do that. Puyol, great point as well for Spain as well. And then I heard the coverage on the Copa America has been trash as well from a UK perspective, and that doesn't surprise me. So, yeah, I won't be tuning into that, unfortunately. It's just too much football.
Sometimes the Euros coverage in the UK is trash. I mean, you look at some of the commentating going on, it's atrocious. But
Robbie Savage called Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
Bro, have you guys seen that Arab commentator? Have you guys seen that clip of that Arab commentator that I think it was Euro match?
Oh my God.
Man, Premier League should think about just throwing in an Arab commentator here and there, bro. That would.
What was it? Was it Russia or was it Sweden? I'm not sure what game it was.
I think it might have been Russia, and there was this fine girl there was showing, and this commentator started singing for her.
Singing, bro. He started singing.
I love it, Younes. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's a character. Do you know what I mean? Oh man.
No, but like Robbie Savage yesterday, he wound me up, man. Like towards the end of that game, he was like, "Lads, take it to the corner," and then what do? They score a second goal, right? They ignore his advice. They take the ball. They go, "Forget that. We're gonna attack." They score the second goal, and then Robbie Savage is like, "Oh yes, lovely. What a team!" Like,
Younes, you know what Robbie Savage said about Thomas Tuchel after the Wolves game? You saw that clip, right?
Remind me.
He was having a full go at Thomas Tuchel. He's like, "Oh, is this why you let go of Frank to play that kind of football against Wolves? I can't believe he's benched Mason Mount, the only player that's been playing." I'm like, dude, I want you to talk now. I really want you to talk now because tell me, I can't believe this guy was making the comments he was making just after the one game. Like,
it's embarrassing.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I honestly think they just do this on purpose for clicks because there's no way when a brother's just barely put his toothbrush near his sink and drove down to problem take a session that he should be doing anything in any match to win any game. Especially people forget we was absolutely in torrid form as well, shocking form.
Yeah,
crazy.
JT was right.
JT was right.
JT was right.
Oh Lord. I mean, before we wrap up, has there been any other links to our famous club? Any other players trying to force their way into the European Championship setup? I mean, we had the fixtures go out, which was interesting. We've got 2 big games: Liverpool, Man City in the first 6. Interesting.
The first 6 games. I love how you said that. So Arsenal
I just realized.
Big games. Yeah.
I just realized what is left at Arsenal. I like it. They're not a big game at all. I mean, they're just
they're getting held up
mid-table
by Aston Villa for like they're getting held up for. They're getting bullied by Aston Villa for Smith Rowe.
Bro, they stole Buendia and now they won Emil Smith Rowe.
Took Martinez as well. They took Buendia, they took Martinez, and now they're holding them up against the wall and saying, give us Smith Rowe for 25 million. It's like just imagine imagine the so-called biggest club in London, yeah, with all of their trophies from World War One, all those league titles. Imagine they're getting dragged up by Aston Villa for one of their stars. Like Aston Villa proper think that now, you know what I mean? They can step to them. It's the confidence for me. That's what it does it for. The confidence is incredible. It's incredible.
They're getting rejected left, right, and centre, man. I mean,
Ben White,
rejected 40 million. Like this is a window where we know, Chelsea playing career mode. Yeah, part two.
Yeah.
This is also the Arsenal rejection window.
Yeah.
Everyone's rejecting Arsenal.
Younes, they can't get a single player. Literally everyone. Ben White is rejecting them as well. Ben White saying, get out of here. Arsenal, get out.
Here's the thing. If Chelsea went in for Ben White, 40 million, they'd accept it instantly.
It's a done deal.
It's a done deal. No, but we don't have to do that. Like we're in a good position. You know what I mean? We don't need Ben White. Arsenal going for Ben White. I can admire that because Ben White, decent defender, but to get rejected like that, get out.
I've seen
Aston Villa. They are literally bullying.
They've got a European Cup, Miz. I told you this European Cup is definitely worth more than 20 Community Shields. Do you
think that's what they used in negotiation? They was like, hey, Buendia. Well, this is Villa. Look over here, Champions League trophy.
Yeah,
it's been about 35 years, but Champions League trophy. Yeah, you won't get that, Arsenal. You won't get that.
Yeah, and you know what? It's
Arsenal,
crazy.
20 Community Shields. Would you like one?
They're literally bullying Arsenal. Like, oh my god, it's just, and Brighton as well now. Like, they don't want to deal with someone like Arsenal. It's just, oh man,
it's beautiful.
Are we gonna be alive to see Arsenal get relegated? That's the thing. It would be so good. It would be such a
big teams have been relegated before.
Leeds,
Forest, Leeds
have gone down. Forest have gone down.
So it can happen. It can happen. I'd love to see it. I really would. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it because AFTV's like trips to Millwall and fan cams outside Luton.
I'd like to see
airport.
I'd love to see DT, getting ready for an MK Dons versus Arsenal clash. We're gonna win the championship. Yeah, we're gonna win a trophy. That would be funny.
It'd be brilliant.
It's gonna be mad.
So yeah, there's a small matter of Arsenal still getting bounced around.
That conversation somehow still happening about London not being blue and it's still red somehow.
Not around here. It's not a conversation that's taking place here.
That's ridiculous.
We ain't having that conversation because it's not even something I need to even mention. It's not a sentence that I'm even going to bring up again.
But I can't wait till we have Hakimi and Haaland, and if we're not beating them 6-0 next season.
Remember the first 6 fixtures. Yeah, Arsenal is our second game. We are Arsenal's first home game.
I would better pace them.
Do you know what?
6.
Perfect. I need like a Drogba type performance at the Emirates. Free kick off the post and then Almunia diving. Do you know what I mean? 4-1. I need it all. We need one of the players or the goal scorer, whoever's going to be, to get Ashley
flagged
Cole
saying London is blue
in front of the Arsenal fans. I need it all. That's the. I want to. I'm telling. I need a beatdown. I need it.
I need it. 6
I need it.
Minimum 6. 6 has to be.
Do you know what? Do you know what's even more interesting on that fixture list? Palace, because if Palace get Lampard will be coming to Stamford Bridge on the opening day, and that, my friends, will be an absolute
Tuchel versus Lampard, eh?
Incredible. Incredible.
I hope Lampard gets another 4-0 start.
Was it 4-0? No.
He got done, remember, against Man United in the first season.
Lord, that was a terrible start, wasn't it?
I can't wait, bro. Thomas Tuchel being like, oh, Lampard, what new tricks did you learn?
I bet you'll have some fans that will be like, I'll take a draw. I'll be like,
oh, no, Matty. It will happen, wouldn't it? It probably would happen.
Guys, I don't want Lampard to get off to a bad start at Palace, man. I need him to get a draw. I
want to see Lampard get a draw.
Need him to have a good start. Maybe we should loan him Haaland.
Came back, the papers are going to be ruthless.
Maybe we should loan him Erling Haaland as well, guys. You know, it's just when we get. And then finally, this super chat's reminded me here from Alex. Great stream, boys. A Coca-Cola cheers, guys. Footballers are starting to put water bottles on tables and taking away Heineken and Coca-Cola.
What Coca-Cola?
It's interesting.
Get out.
Yeah, it's interesting because Mayweather did it as well. He's like, they pay for that? No? Okay, then they got to go.
Now he's about the bag. He's about the bag.
Ronaldo is obviously about the health. Pogba's obviously doesn't drink alcohol as well, so he's taking away the Heineken. So yeah, it's interesting. I think even someone else did it as well, maybe for the Italian team. I can't remember. Was it Locatelli?
Locatelli.
Yeah.
Sponsors are in the mud. This is going to be a trend. I can see it going forward. This is going to be a trend.
Sponsors are getting dragged right now, man. Speaking of sponsors, I won't take you off the table. I'm joking. We've had Manscaped. Manscaped is one of those ones as well. It's just, I don't know if Manscaped is everywhere right now.
Manscaped's all over the place.
It's transfer season. We're having discussions, but the deal's got to be right, people. You know, it has to be correct. It has to be right. Raiola is my agent. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, listen, that's all I've got for today. I think on this one, we've covered everything. The DM search continues, even though it's not priority according to many sources. And hopefully by our next one, Erling Haaland will be a Chelsea player. Oof. That would be lovely. No, I think it's more likely to be Hakimi, really, isn't it? But
we should do an emergency if that ever happens.
Oh, of course, breaking news, definitely. Yeah. Oh yeah,
100%. If Haaland signed, oh my god,
100%. Got breaking news.
A lot of people are saying Hakimi has to happen by the end of this month because Inter's got to balance their books. So that apparently 13 days. Hakimi, celebrate. Let's go.
And also, I want to add, like in relation to Erling Haaland, I think it's key that we try and get him first before United get Sancho, if they do, because I think it becomes a lot harder for us to get Haaland if they've actually sold Sancho, because letting both of them go would be mad. And I feel like we have the capacity. If we get Haaland first and then let United just panic over getting Sancho, because then Dortmund would be like, oh crap, we can't let both go. We've let Haaland go. Are we going to let Sancho go? And then United are in the mud. So we got to act now.
Very good point. It's a very good point. It's actually crucial, like you said, that we get him first before.
Well, Sancho's at the Euros. Haaland isn't. He's on holiday in Mykonos. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? Get Haaland now.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult negotiation. It's going to be a long one. I think Hakimi could get done quite soon. I think he'll be our first signing because I think we've just got too many players. First of all, Inter Milan need the money. They don't want to sell Lukaku, clearly, so they're going to sell Hakimi. Easier to replace a wing-back than a striker in this day and age, as we know. We've got players to offer them as well. They'll take Alonso, I think, from what I'm reading.
We're the only front runners at the moment, Matisse, because PSG is looking into Serge Aurier or even Florenzi. So they've already got themselves Donnarumma and Wijnaldum. So, you know, they don't want to go out and just thrash money about. Do you know what I mean? And Hakimi is going to have a lot of wages too. So,
and do you know what? The fact that journalists don't seem to have like massive updates on Hakimi in terms of like things being agreed. Like there's rumors, but it's not concrete from what I can see, because everyone seems to be getting fed different information. That just makes me think that's even closer than we think, because Chelsea don't, when it gets to the nitty gritty towards the end of the deal, they don't tend to leak things. Ziyech came out of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? Out of nowhere. Nobody even knew that we was even really bidding for him, let alone signing him. So I think Hakimi's quite close. I think that'll get done quite soon. Hopefully, really, you'd hope actually before the next show, because to be honest, personal terms, they're going to get agreed. That's not a thing. It's just about the offer. It's not going to be an issue. Personal terms can get agreed inside a couple
5 minutes.
5 minutes. You know what I mean?
How much do you want? X amount. All right, just get it done. Like, what's the fuss?
Quickest negotiation of all time.
Yeah, I think PSG will focus on free transfers. Sergio Ramos, I can see them taking him.
Yeah,
there you go. There's another one. Yeah,
they signed Donnarumma and Wijnaldum for free. I wouldn't be surprised if they took Sergio Ramos for free as well.
Yeah.
Sergio has got a good. People laugh, but he's got a good record in France. He did very well. That's where Tottenham got him from.
Exactly.
So maybe he just needs to go back home. Anyway, we're going to end, people. It's been a great show. Hope you guys have enjoyed. We've covered literally everything we could possibly cover. I'm actually wondering what I'm going to talk about on my next upload. God help me. Miz, where can they find you, bro? What have you got coming out? Let the people know.
Yeah, man. I've literally got a stream in half an hour on my channel. I was, it's not really a Chelsea rumor, but I did want to talk about the names are all swapped around.
I'm not even going to bother. Oh, wait. I think I know how to do this now. No, I don't. Wait. No. Yeah. Figured it out.
So you guys can find me the other side of the coin. The channel, thanks to each and every one of you guys. Honestly, it's been doing really good. I've got a stream coming up in half an hour. If you're interested, I'll be talking about Jude Bellingham because the Haaland situation is somewhat linked to a future deal. So it'll be an interesting discussion to talk about that. And it was something actually I heard from Zach Jaleb from Chelsea YouTube when I had him a couple of weeks ago. He actually said, wouldn't mind getting Jude Bellingham. And it's interesting that literally yesterday, the whole name. So it'll be good to talk about that. And then whole Sergio Ramos and Locatelli and the Declan Rice. So if you're interested for more of this conversation, please check the other side of the coin.
There you go. Link is in the chat. Thank you so much, Victor. Link is in the description. Make sure you go and subscribe. What are you on now?
5.3, close to. Yeah, it's been going good, man.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That's what we like to see. That is what we love to hear, ladies and gentlemen.
Love to hear
Smash that 5K. And Younes, bro, what have you got coming up? Let the people know where to find you. What's going on?
Mad things. So basically,
watch along on Twitch, isn't it, as well?
Watch alongs on Twitch, England games and the France, Germany, Portugal group games, just when they play each other, which I've done France, Germany. That was a lot of fun. And then moving into the last 16, couple of games from there, a couple of quarterfinals, both semi-finals and the final will be done. But here on YouTube, England previews and reviews alongside just all the Chelsea news that we're getting on a daily basis. So some double upload days, some single upload, but it's always consistent. So like today, I'll be dropping the England preview for tomorrow's game and a Chelsea news video on top. And tomorrow is
double upload. Lovely.
Tomorrow's another double upload as well, England review and a Chelsea video plus the Twitch stream. So it's busy.
Busy boy.
By the way, Matisse, breaking, and it's legit. Fabrizio Romano just tweeted Manuel Locatelli, Chelsea interested. So this is not BS. Like I'm literally doing that. I thought it was more of a fan sort of drive. So I need to change my title around a little bit. So yeah,
I'm telling you, man. Roman's got this right now. And he's just watched Italy yesterday, and he's gone. Search name, Locatelli.
Stats look pretty good. Let's go and buy him.
Place bid.
Where has he tweeted this? I can't even see this.
Fabrizio Romano, apparently. I'm just seeing all over. Yeah,
I haven't seen that. Is that the chat?
No. I've got here Absolute Chelsea tagging Fabrizio Romano. Let me just go to Fabrizio Romano.
Absolute Chelsea have said it as well. Oh, so no, he said it. He said it on Don Robbie's stream.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's where they're quoting.
You're interested.
He vocally said it that Chelsea, Man City, and I think Arsenal as well are linked with Locatelli. Arsenal shouldn't even be in the conversation. They have no chance.
But they can't even get Buendia.
Exactly.
Because he has a series on Don Robbie's channel called the Here We Go show. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, there you are. Well, listen, like I said, people, there are other DMs on the planet. Please prepare yourselves if you are infatuated with Declan Rice that someone else may come in and you will just have to
deal with it.
At this time, I think everyone needs to forget that Declan Rice thing. Just won't.
I think it can still happen. It could still happen, but I'm just saying, there are other humans on the earth that can play in that position. In terms of myself, content coming out, sorry I didn't update you guys in terms of the schedule on the community tab because the schedule has changed a lot. This is the first full week of Euros, so I've had to kind of move things around a bit. I thought you was
going to say I've got no content coming out.
No, it's just very difficult to manage because there's 3 games on now every single day.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just crazy. Obviously, there's no point streaming during those times. So Oil Boys is now Tuesdays at 10 p.m. every week. Just for the foreseeable future. London Clubs Carnage, which wasn't on yesterday, is now Sunday at lunchtime, 12 o'clock. So it's not going to clash with any games. So that's, and obviously Toby was always coming out for meetings, so we just had to move it, people, clearly. So that's that. The Transfer Checkers, Saturday, lunchtime. So, both the weekend days, lunchtimes with Damien and Anita for that as well. And then the Transfer Checkers will be other times as well when we've got breaking news or we've got a journalist coming on as well. And then the skits are coming. I've only put out one, which was the England one, if you guys got to see it. But yeah, I'm gonna put out more coming up soon. It really just depends on what happens in the Euros later on. If there's something to talk about, I'll make a skit on it. If there's not, I'm not gonna force it because otherwise it's not gonna be fun to watch. That's it, really. Guys, make sure you subscribe, smash the likes, and we will see you next week, or maybe sooner if Hakimi breaks. We shall see.
Yeah.
Or maybe even Locatelli at this point. In a bit, people. Peace.